Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors regular meeting, Thursday, October 12th. It's 6 p.m. on the dot.
I'll call the roll.
Yes, Board Clerk,
Perfect.
please call the roll.
Director Saylors? Present. Director Weber?
Present.
Director Sheets?
Here.
Thank you. Director Sheets is participating remotely this evening. Director Gould is absent. Director Wood?
Present.
Director Rice?
Present.
Director Jones? Here. Director Costa?
Here.
President Clark?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, next we pledge allegiance to our flag. Director Weber, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, sir.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director.
And I do.
Metro Cable announcement. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is also webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays at 3 p.m. on Saturday, October 14th, and again at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, October 18th on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Next, we go to public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we do. We have a speaker card from Roger Mitchell.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell, come forward, please.
Board Chairman Clark, board members, Chief Mitchell, staff, and members of the public. I just come before you tonight to thank all the members of the board and the staff that have purchased tickets to our fundraiser that will be the 21st of this month. That's next Saturday. So we thank everyone that's done that. The restoration, I think you'll get a good look at it this year. The young lady at the Park District has produced a wonderful video to show you how the progress has come along. So, in as much as I tell you that we're proud that it was Reelinda's second engine, this is an engine that's very typical of all the predecessor districts that make up Metro Fire. And it won't just represent Reelinda, it will represent all those predecessor districts as well as Metro Fire. So, any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Do we have any questions for Mr.
No, sir. Thank you, Director.
Next, we go to the consent agenda. Do we have any, you've all had an opportunity to review the consent items. I will entertain a motion to.
Make a motion.
I'll move the consent. You move it? Oh, I thought Director Wood.
I'm second.
Okay.
Who do we have? Sorry.
Director Wood, motion, and Director Weber is seconded.
Director Saylors? Director Weber?
Aye.
Director Sheets?
Aye.
Director Wood?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
Director Jones?
Aye.
Director Costa?
Aye.
President Clark?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. The consent calendar is approved.
Thank you, Board Clerk. Move on to presentation items. The first is EMS Award of Excellence Black and Wildland Fire EMS Rescue awarded to Metro Fire's Air Operations Division. We'll have BC Grant Russell doing a presentation.
Good evening, directors and Chief Mitchell. I'd like to have Captain Bryce Mitchell and Brian Kahn come up for this award presentation. So on July 28th of 2022, Copter 1 was requested for a mutual aid response to Placer County for a hoist rescue. Copter 1 responded to the Sailor Flat area of the American River for a person who had been injured by a falling tree. Copter One coordinated the response with the Grass Valley Emergency Command Center and the Placer County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team. Search and Rescue had made patient contact and had requested a hoist-capable helicopter. A second patient that was also on scene was unfortunately deceased upon the arrival of Copter One. The area was in a previous burn with numerous standing snags and/or dead and fire-damaged trees from a previous fire. Copter One arrived on scene, coordinated a hoist insertion of a rescuer to assess and package the patient. Patient was assessed, packaged for a hoist extraction, and then extracted with the rescuer simultaneously and transported to Sutter Roseville Medical Center, where patient care was transferred to the trauma team. In August of 2023, Metro Fire was notified by the National Wildfire Coordinating Group out of Boise, Idaho, that Metro Fire Air Operations had been nominated for an EMS Award of Excellence. In September of this year, it was announced that Metro Fire had been awarded the 2022 NWCG Award of EMS Excellence for the response that night in Placer County. And on behalf of the NWCG, I'd like to present the award to Captain Bryce Mitchell, who was the pilot, Brian Kahn, who was one of the rescuers that night. Unfortunately, firefighter Matt Dargan couldn't make it tonight. He got sidetracked by a medical aid on his way here. And James Doyle, who's out of town, who was also the flight officer and hoist operator that night. And I'd like to give the podium to Captain Mitchell for a minute to just discuss the complexities of that rescue. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Good evening, Board. Thanks for having us tonight. I'd like to go over some of the key aspects of the rescue and talk about what this the plaque or the award means to the unit in general. To go over some of the key aspects, we had very low illumination by the moon at night. When they say that we were requested as a hoist rescue capable helicopter, it was also on a very dark night, which makes the significant complexities increase. So that evening we had relatively good weather, but even with our night vision goggles, we have very high-tech equipment that assists us. Vision was extremely decreased just based on the low illumination of the moon. We also had a significantly deep canyon, so the top of the canyon rim was about 6,500 feet, and the bottom of the canyon rim was at about 3,800 feet. So we had almost 3,000 feet of canyon walls on either side of us, and it's very rugged terrain out there. So once we were able to mobilize and get the aircraft en route, the success in these type of calls, as complexities increase, the things that create success are found in the details. So the details on how we worked together as a team that night, and really led by James Doyle and by the rescuers that were on scene, the fact that we're able to train with outside agencies and our allied partners up in Placer County enabled us to actually communicate and interact with individuals that we had trained closely with just through annual training events and talked to on a regular basis. So it gave us that team connection there, just because it wasn't our first time working together. That increased our ability to get the job done quickly. When we're out in that area, fuel is a factor, so time is of the essence. So smooth is fast, or slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So we were able to package that patient and transport them to a hospital nearby in very short order. It took the crews about 3.5 to 4 hours just to hike in to get ground units in place. And once we had gotten there, we had the patient packaged and transported to the hospital in about 28 minutes. So you can see the increased service that we provide by being able to do that. And obviously the crews that were on scene there that night, Brian Kahn was the second rescuer on the aircraft that night. Just having an extra set of eyes to be able to help everybody be on the same page, make sure that everybody is looking at the same things and we're all looking at all the hazards in the areas. It's all a result of the training that we're able to do and the support that we're able to get from the board, from the district in general. And so it gives us a great sense of pride to be able to have a positive outcome for a young individual who was in a very unfortunate situation. So thank you for the support that you guys have provided, because really the plaque and the honor goes to you guys. Thank you.
All right.
Clark, can we get a picture with that group up front, President Clark, real quick? Is that okay? I'd like to bring.
All of us.
The light show? Oh,
Yeah, we could all be there.
these guys.
Right? Can we all fit there?
No, first you.
All right. And, we need another one with the board.
No, it's there. It's just there.
Okay.
You're afraid of heights anyway.
Well, I'm going to include everybody.
No, that's sweet.
Thank you, gentlemen. I don't know if we had any questions for B.C. Russell, but I guess we didn't. All right. The second presentation item is advocacy action plan presentation. That would be the Director of Government Affairs, Kyle McDonald. The recommendation is there's no action, of course.
So, good evening, directors. I am going to kick off this presentation tonight with a little bit of background for you and tie it to the May workshop and Saturday, where we had talked about a number of things in the strategic plan. We had attached an idea of external engagement. There was the board intent in there, but we had talked about attaching a couple of things, an economic development plan, and then the ledge affairs advocacy plan. So this is an update on that. I'm really excited to say we took the comments from that day, that Saturday, and I gave them to Kyle, and we tried to come up with something that met the board's intent and the comments from that day that gave us some flexibility to move in this space, but also create better awareness for the board in what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm really excited for you to see what Kyle has done, and we're hoping it really meets what you want us to accomplish. This tonight is a proposed framework, because we talked about a subcommittee, we talked about a policy. This is maybe something in between that gives us a little more flexibility, gets us in front of the board more often on topics. So this is a proposed framework. If the board likes the framework and wants us to move forward with it, we'll want that in your comments or thoughts today. And then we'll look to finalize this product and then move to what's the actual work? What are we trying to accomplish? And what are the big issues that are facing the district, but also the fire service in general? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle, and we'll get started.
Thank you, Jeff. As mentioned, I'm Kyle McDonald, Director of Government Affairs here at Sacramento Metro Fire. President Clark, directors, Chief Mitchell, everybody here in the audience, I appreciate this opportunity to talk with you all today about this. Before I delve in, just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Good? Okay, wonderful. All right, so this was the point that Jeff would mention earlier. This is the strategic planning process and framework, and then you'll see the little bottom right-hand corner, the legislative priorities and advocacy plan. That's what I'm here talking with you all today about. Before jumping into the actual presentation, I think it's important for you guys to know who is talking to you all today, for you to understand where I come from, my background, a little bit about what has led me here to this position here, and a position that I am deeply proud to hold. I have spent over a decade working in the legislative, policy, and political arena. That's been here in California, my home state, born and raised in Monterey County. Went to Sacramento State, and then took a political and legislative nomad approach and moved around the country a bit before coming back to Sacramento. And in the past several years prior to coming to Metro Fire, I was the Director of Government Affairs at the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. So different badge, but same care for the community. And this is something that I do want to say. I know Director Weber and I have talked about this before. To me, public safety, it really isn't just professional, it's personal. My father spent over 30 years in the fire service, so I can fully appreciate all of the work that you all do, as well as everybody in the crowd as well. Like I said, it's personal. So I think before delving into the full presentation and the full framework, I think it's helpful to define a few terms to make sure that we're all on the same page of what we're talking about here. This presentation is very much geared towards the state and federal legislative side of things. There is, of course, local engagement and local policy that gets folded into government affairs. That'll be more on the stakeholder engagement side of things with a little bit of bleed over into this. So for the sake of this presentation, if you notice an absence of strong discussion or discussion at all on the local side of things at cities and county, that's the reason why. So to me, government affairs for the purpose of this presentation is its strategic engagement with the legislative and policy process, it's relationship building with key decision makers, it's making certain that we're securing that status as a go-to resource for facts, evidence, and testimony. And quite honestly, and to boil it down simply, it's just working to make sure that we have a seat at the table where decisions are being made. This all ties directly to the external engagement board directive that you have, and it ties quite well to the policy and legislative side that I'm very passionate about. Now, when I started creating this presentation, I took some time talking with you all, talking with folks, and thinking back to other government affairs programs that I've seen, that I've worked with both personally, indirectly, directly, and it really came down to three specific things. A successful government affairs program, as I would define it, is one that thoughtfully balances the needs, goals, and objectives of the organization leadership with the desires and feedback of the agency's members, while looking through the lens of always providing the best possible services to the community. This is something that I'm going to hammer home throughout this framework. It very much is a collaborative effort. It's not just one person says this, that's what we do. It's very much making sure that we take a holistic approach to a successful program, because we're only going to be as successful to make sure we're on the same page of what we're pushing for. Not only is collaboration key, but quite honestly, community is key as well. As I said, community is key. Well, I just really wanted to build up the drama there for you all. So now I want to delve into what the essentials of effective advocacy are. This is based on, again, my experiences, but it's also based on what I've seen work elsewhere. And it's also what I think would work very well here with what we're trying to accomplish. The first piece is establish relationships early. This is vital. It really is important that we build meaningful relationships with our elected officials, their staffs, legislative and policy staffers, agency representatives, and it's really important to do it prior to having an ask. And to elaborate on that, it's not just, to me, the establishing relationships isn't just a one-way, we know who to reach out to if we need something. It's also important to make sure that they know who to reach out to if they need something from us, whether it's a question like we had in January from a member of Congress who wanted to learn more about our response during the storms, or if they need to get stats and facts and figures on something, or just making sure that the communication is, again, collaborative, but that we have that relationship built up early. That's going to be really, really important for us to accomplish what we need to do. I do want to pause for a sec and just say, if at any point you want me to answer any questions, I'd be happy, of course, to answer them at the end. But if we're going through this and you think of something, feel free to just stop me. I might be talking a little bit fast through some of the parts. It's not nerves. Genuinely, it's just excitement. I'm very passionate about this. That might be coming through right now. But okay, let me move on to continuing the conversation. So it really is not good enough for us to just, beginning at a legislative session, meet with our legislature, meet with our state and federal staffers, and just say, hi, we're Metro Fire, here's what we're about, I'll see you in 2 years or 4 years or 6 years. It's really important that we keep that conversation going, that we build those relationships to not just be an initial conversation, but a prolonged conversation. It's about finding reasons to talk with them. It's about finding opportunities to, if we're having a station dedication, making certain that we're reaching out to their staffers. It's about finding opportunities to, we saw this news story, or we did this great thing in the community, we just want to make sure your office has seen it. It's about making sure that we have sustained and active engagement. That goes with not just the elected officials, but their staffers as well. Another very important piece of the essentials framework here is state and federal priorities. When we want to meet with our elected officials, you know, just talking about what we're seeing, what we're doing is one thing, but the main purpose is also to make sure that our priorities are being heard, that our goals and objectives are being heard. And a framework that we can build with state and federal priorities is, you know, essentially it's a focused priorities list. It's priorities that we'll establish, of course, with your feedback, with feedback from our agency and feedback from partners as well, to see, okay, what does Metro Fire really need? And I know that for the directors who have been on the cap-to-cap trip, we create that specific priorities list. We would do a similar thing here, where we have Metro Fire's state legislative priorities and Metro Fire's federal legislative priorities. This is something that we would communicate to our elected officials and their staffs in the late winter, early spring period of time, and I'll delve into the seasonal approach shortly. But around that time, we're doing kind of those new legislative session. Hey, here's what our priorities are this year. It's my goal that the first year that we have that leave behind crafted, it might take a little bit of work and effort to get that paper to where we want it. But in terms of fine-tuning it for future legislative sessions, it's really about building upon it and making sure that we're fine-tuning it how we want. And certainly that's done collaboratively with you all. So I mentioned the late fall or late winter, early spring period. I want to make certain that Metro Fire and quite honestly the fire service in general is taking active year-round engagement on advocacy. I forgot the word of my entire presentation. On advocacy. All too often, I've seen that a lot of fire agencies, they will just focus on the legislative session when that's happening from January through September, and then October for the governor's signing deadline. Or on the federal side, they'll just weigh in or just pay attention if there's a bill or a funding opportunity or congressionally directed spending, and not have a true year-round advocacy plan and not have a true year-round effort to make certain that they have external engagement with their elected officials. So instead of getting into a calendar-centric, January we do this, February we do this, September we do this, I really look at it seasonally, spring, summer, fall, winter. This is strategic in a sense. Looking at the federal government is a great example right now in terms of typically when they need to have a budget passed, September 30th. Right now we're operating on a continuing resolution and conceivably going to be coming up on another one soon as well. So instead of getting to a deadline-centric September we do this, October we do this, I keep it more vague to allow us the flexibility to adapt our plan as necessary. So in terms of spring, there's a lot of words on this one, so I won't bore you by reading it all. But to me, spring is our starting off point. This is when we will begin monitoring, tracking, engaging on various legislation based on our priorities that we talked about earlier. It's also a time when in 2023, out of the 2,600 bills that were introduced, over 1,000 of those were what's considered spot bills, essentially placeholder bills where the legislature intends to do something on something. Maybe they might gut and amend and do something else, but they at least might do something. Those bills are important for us to be able to lean on procedural and historical knowledge to help determine what might come of those. But this is also the time when I'd like to see us doing our, I don't want to say introductory meetings, but reintroductory meetings for the new legislative session. This is our chance to highlight what our priorities are, to find out what they're working on, bills that we might be able to be supportive of, but also extend the hand to offer our assistance as well. If there's legislation they might be thinking about or they've already introduced that they would like a letter of support or that sort of thing. So this is also the time where at the state level, the budget deadline is June 15th. So if there's fiscal impacts and benefits potentially on the table, or quite honestly, always on the table for the fire service, ideally, we need to make sure that we're staying engaged there as well. Summer engagement, this is our recalibration time. This is our chance to take a pause, see what has come from the spring, see what has happened with the budget, shifting more towards the policy side of things. And quite honestly, one of the benefits of Metro Fire being California's largest capital fire agency is that when the legislature goes on summer recess, they're here. They're not going down to LA or San Diego or up to Siskiyou County. They're staying here in our backyard. And it's a great opportunity for us to keep having those meetings, not just over at the state capitol, but to bring them out to our stations, to bring them out to our training facility, to bring them out to our headquarters for a briefing. It's an opportunity to organize ride-alongs or potential opportunities for them to see firsthand what we're seeing, what we're doing, but also allows us to reiterate our policies, our priorities, and again, another touch-in with our staffers. That last point there at the federal level, this is the appropriations season, will be around this time. If we've been pushing for either congressionally directed spending or potential grants or funding opportunities, this is our opportunity to be highlighting that as well. Fall. This is the crunch time. This is the busy season, both at the state and federal level. This is when they have the sign, not just the actual deadline to pass the bills, but then the governor's deadline to sign the bills. This is that period of time where there's going to be a lot of flurry of amendments, a lot of late night texts and phone calls as we figure out what the latest is on something. This is that time period where it's just a mad dash to the finish. This is also in a normal Washington, D.C., the end of the appropriation season at the end of September. So again, the fiscal impacts. And you've probably seen a common theme here. The fiscal impacts truly are year-round, which is just hammering home the point to make sure that we have an effective plan year-round as well. The winter engagement period. This is our true regroup, recalibrate. We look at what passed, we look at what didn't, we look at what might be a 2-year bill. This is also a really important piece to me is a thank you effort. For the bills that did pass or the members who took a vote that we wanted, it's important to us to not just go to them and ask them to vote for something, but it's important to make sure that we thank them and follow up afterwards. That's, again, another opportunity for us to have a touch-in, but it's also the right thing to do, and it helps build true, strong relationships. This is also the period of time where we'll discuss and review our state and federal priority papers, modify as needed. Ideally, take out the things that we managed to get across the finish line and add new things in, or recalibrate what we need to look forward. I will just cover this one real quick because I want to be respectful of your guys' time, but the essentials of real-time monitoring, making certain that we're knowing what happens as it happens is critical, especially as we get to that fall flurry where committee hearings, things might change, amendments might happen. We very much rely on and lean on our other partners in the legislative and policy arena. They are a huge piece of that puzzle, but this, by ensuring that we are monitoring in real time what's going on, we're able to act fast and make certain that Metro Fire's priorities get conveyed accordingly. Now, with those 2,600 bills, or 2,900 bills, I apologize, it just keeps going up. Not all bills are created equal. As much as I enjoy holding up in my office and reading legislation, that's not even a joke, I genuinely enjoy that. There's no way that I can read and monitor and analyze 2,900 bills and advocate for those effectively. So I want to make certain that I categorize and that we categorize those into 3 tiers. Tier 1, these are our highest priority bills. These are the ones that we're down at the Capitol, we're talking with our state and federal partners, in-person meetings, letters of position, witness testimony, and also regular updates. That's a really important one. I don't want to operate in a vacuum. I very much want to make certain that you, the board, our chief, our district, understands what we're doing and more importantly, why we're doing it. These bills will always align with our Metro Fire priorities. Tier 2, these are our bills that are important, but the strategic engagement and the strategic strategy there will be led by our allied organizations, California Special Districts, FDAC, California Fire Chiefs, CPF, and others. They'll lead the strategy side of things. That's not to say that we're just taking a backseat approach. We still might provide letters, testimony, facts, stats, all of the above, but the actual forward push strategy will be led by our allies. Tier 3, these are bills that might affect the fire service, but not necessarily affect Metro Fire. There's a few bills that come to mind where it's important for us to still have them on our tracking list, making sure that we're still aware of them in case something might change or things get amended. But these are bills that don't necessarily rise the level of direct engagement being needed. Now, the essentials of cultivating collaboration, it's not just about collaborating with our elected officials and state and federal partners in the legislative and policy side. It's also important for us to capitalize on our position here in California's capital region, working to make certain that we're working with elected officials, but also agencies, the organizations that I mentioned before, business groups and things like that. And I know, Jeff, you wanted to come up and elaborate on this point.
I just want to, we were doing this presentation for Chief House, and we got to this point, and at that point in time, Chief House goes, how do other fire agencies do this? And I said, well, it's kind of at the fire chief level. It's based on availability. They get called away. And I said, but we're different. Like, I started doing this in 2018. Our proximity to the Capitol, our ability to be on all those working groups, to participate in that committee that doesn't even have a name yet, where everybody's in the room and hear the issues and bring it back. We're at a different point to where now some of our partners like Confire and others are calling us. Like, where are you guys at? Where are you doing? So I want to stop and tell you that. I think we're kind of in new territory here in a lot of ways. But I also want to make the point here that this board makes us different. Because of your personal interests and what you do outside of this, each of you have a different lens on all this and a lot of work in this space. So I really do think, like I've heard from all of you, this is where we can work together. This is where if we have a tier 1 issue and we know it and we're bringing it to the board and this just happened, we would love to engage with you more and have you more involved in this space. So I just want to stop here and make that point. I think, Chief House wanted me to say, like, the board needs to hear that because we're we are kind of charging into a new territory here. And I don't know how, but we have a seat in the room. I think that's important for the board to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Exactly. He summarized it perfectly. It really is about making sure that we've got that seat at the table and that we're occupying that seat at the table, and making sure that we're also working collaboratively internally as well. Making sure that what I'm doing is being communicated with our community relations folks, and that we really are working to get to a point where we want to truly have that collaboration internally, externally, and all throughout the process. Now, the last 3 slides are talking about the organizational roles. This is something where I very much welcome your feedback on. The first point is organizational role of the board of directors. This is not me coming up here telling you this is what you're going to do. This is me, based on my experiences, what I think would be the best approach, but I very much welcome your feedback and input on the role of the board of directors in this process. As Jeff mentioned, we are very unique because of this board. You're elected by the community that we serve. You're also uniquely positioned to take constituent feedback and help aid in the setting of those long-term policy priorities. Like Jeff said, on the tier 1 items especially, being able to bring you guys to a meeting, to be able to provide your direct input, not just to the legislature, but to the community that you serve too, will be very helpful in growing Metro Fire in that realm. We'll also lean on you guys to help us annually fine-tune that legislative priorities list. And the last point, regular communication will be instituted. I didn't put in there exactly what that looks like. I think that we're going to go through some fits and starts so we figure out exactly what regular needs to be defined as. But I want to commit to you all that that's a very important one to me, that you don't just hear from me once a year and we talk politics and legislature, that you're actually aware of what's going on. Regular may be me coming up here to talk to you all. It might be email communication, but it will be something that hopefully gets us to a point where you're hearing from us and understanding and the policy side, and we're better understanding what you're hearing on the ground as well. Organizational roles for the fire chief. Similar to the board, it'll be up to the chief to help establish the shorter-term policy priorities that work to advance Metro Fire's long-term interests. The fire chief will be the agency signatory for the positions that we take at local, state, and federal policy legislation. And when Metro Fire is asked to testify before a legislative body, typically, or meet to discuss substantive policy, the chief or his or her designee will be the lead individual tasked with appearing in that regard. And then what does that mean?
Sorry, I have a quick question.
Yes, absolutely.
May I ask a question? So on the writing of letters, that's really based on the framework that we put together as far as our priorities. If there's something outside of that, what's the process?
That's a fantastic question. I think that's something that we would need to kind of further flesh out and see. Mm-hmm. As of now, anything that we put a letter of support for, tier 1 will already be part of our priorities list. Okay. But the priorities are also going to be written in a way that allows us more latitude to engage. Instead of the policies being A, B, insert number, this is our priority, it'll be broader. It'll be first responder, mental health and wellness, or talking about funding opportunities for a sustained workforce, things like that. Okay. So it won't be as technical and in the weeds, but that is something that we can definitely further flesh out. That's a really good point.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say it's usually a tier 3 topic for us, which the board would already have awareness on. Like this is, and those typically come with template letters from one of our partner associations, where they're asking us to put our name and logo on an issue topic that's probably tier 3 for us.
Okay.
So it's usually pretty vetted by that point in time. Happy to keep the board on what we're signing and what we're doing in that space as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions on the role of the chief? Okay. The role of me, I am a strategic resource to you all, to the chief, but also to our entire agency. It will be my responsibility for helping set and implement the long and short-term priorities, It will be my job to follow up on this action plan and further flesh it out to make sure that it is a living document that works for Metro Fire. And lastly, it will be me who is the gentleman who's the legislative liaison to our elected officials and policy professionals, leaning on my experience and my connections to make certain that we get that seat in the table and are able to occupy it. Now, I'll wrap this up by saying that this is, what we're trying to do here is, it really is a trailblazing effort. There is no real template beyond this because this isn't something that a lot of fire service or fire agencies have. But as we shift and work on the large agency mindset and make certain that we're out there as a leader in our community, in our capital region, in the state of California, but also nationally, I think that we have here. And with your guys' support, the ability to create something really great and something that I'm genuinely excited about. I will wrap it up now by ending on the first slide.
I just want to, in the conclusion piece, I do want to point on where we are different, where we can move faster is we work with a lot of cities. We were on a League of Cities call this morning related to fire chiefs, and they were talking a lot about what they have to go through as a better policy to write a letter. And it actually literally has to go to a whole different department, get 15 checkoffs, and the opportunity to weigh in on the subject is over before it starts. So a lot of we're sitting here going, wow, we can move pretty fast. If it's something that's important to this board, to the fire chief, and to our community and members and everything else, we can engage with this structure pretty quickly. So that's, I think, what Kyle and I are excited about. We don't have the handcuffs that a fire department would have, right? So that's why a district is great. That's why the size of our district and our location to the capital is really important. So that's what we're excited about. But the conclusion here, again, going back to the template here, this is a framework for a alleged priority advocacy plan. If the board is okay with this as a process and how we move forward, the next step is to identify the topics. To give you guys what we're thinking about the federal, state, local level, kind of put it in the tier system, saying, okay, board, you agree that these are the biggest issues facing this district, and then that'll be our execution orders, if you will, and then we would come back to this board providing you updates on our seasonal engagement, as it were, or if there are major swings in something that's happened at the catapult, it may be emails, but I think it's getting you guys more awareness on where we want to take this based on the input that we got in the May. So that'll conclude our presentation. Again, it truly is a presentation. There's no action. Would love your feedback and thoughts, and we'll turn it back over to you there, President Clark.
Do you have any questions? Or comments, yeah. Questions or comments?
I've said this before. You guys are rock stars. Incredibly, incredibly important work with your entire shop. Not only to keep on top of what is now happening, but what I really, really appreciate is the long-term forecasting that you folks are doing. And to get us on the road to achieve some of our goals long-term, again, hats off to your entire team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just real quick, Kyle and Jeff, thank you so much. Metro Fire's on the right track. This is really, really important, and I appreciate your plan, your explanation, and the explanation of execution. And I would say you certainly have some folks that are pro-budget for you on this. You're on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I was just going to follow up to that too. I mean, I think this is exactly where we need to go, and so I think the framework's perfect. I'm looking forward to the next steps, and really looking forward to how we pull in the local piece.
Yes.
Because I want to make sure we don't leave out those partners. And I know you mentioned that, but I also think there's an opportunity with those partners, right? So I think
there is. And thank you for that. I should have mentioned what I intended to do with that last slide. I got excited like Kyle did, where this could go. After we get the ledge piece finalized and the board approved, we're already working ahead to get to the stakeholder engagement piece, which I know is of particular interest to you. So that is our very next thing that we're going to start to tackle. There is overlap between ledge and stakeholder. I think Chief House has some new thoughts on how do we get more of this agency engaged and the stakeholder side. So we're
Perfect.
trying to factor that in.
Yeah.
But that'll be the next thing you'll see from Kyle and I.
Great. And the level of communication you guys have laid out, keeping this board informed, I think is key and important. And it sets you up for success. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for this the presentation. This is very exciting for Metro Fire, our future. All right. We are going on to action items. First, we have 5 items on, 4 on the agenda for action items. 2 of them will be done in closed sessions, and then we'll report out. The first 2 is adopt a resolution for project delivery method, Zinfandel Phase 3 build out, and that would be administrative analyst Erin Castleberry.
Good evening, Director Clark,
Welcome.
directors. Tonight, we are very excited to bring you our next steps on our Zinfandel Phase 3 build-out project. I know I sent some communication out about this ahead of time. Basically, how we have regularly done our construction projects is a design bid build, whereby we hire an architect, we go through the design, and then at the end of the design period, we bid that out in a competitive process, go with the low bidder, and build our project. So that is great when we're pretty much in control of our schedule, we're in control of the budget, and we know exactly the specifications we need. Fire stations pretty much are our business, so we know exactly what needs to go into those. We have built several, in the past 15 years. So we're very comfortable with that project methodology. The Zinfandel build-out project is a different project. So we have some stakeholders in the project. Obviously, we have state funding in the mix. There's a potential for federal funding in the mix. And we really do have some stakeholder constraints that we need to be cognizant of in the delivery of this project with regard to timeline and budget. So with that being said, luckily in California, the Public Contract Code does allow districts, when the board, the governing body, believes that it's in the best interest of the district to employ a design build project delivery method, they can make that determination and make the determination that using a best value methodology, whereby it's a little more of a collaborative effort. It does not have to be low bid. It's it's very qualifications based, and that will help the project to have efficiencies in budget, efficiencies in schedule, and get everything delivered quickly and with less complication. So we're excited and think that it is in the best interest of the district to move forward with this project delivery for this particular project because of these considerations. So tonight, we're asking the board to approve and concur that it is in the best interest of the district to utilize a design-build project delivery and also to utilize a best value methodology for the evaluation. The staff report outlines sort of what the process will be. It's a 2-step process, and all of this is per the Public Contract Code. So it is first a request for qualifications process, which we intend to put out pending your approval tomorrow. And that will solicit qualifications from any design build team that wants to potentially bid on our project. Those will be evaluated with really a focus on experience and qualifications of the team. So at this point, they're not going into too much of exactly anything about the project itself, but it's more based on their past experience, and how qualified they are to do this kind of project. So we intend to shortlist a few firms after that process, and then at the beginning of the year, release a request for proposals for the actual design and build of the project. So with that said, I'll answer any questions you have.
Do you have any questions or comments? No?
Made it easy on us.
Great present. See, that's the benefit of sending that information out ahead of time. Much appreciated. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, we,
So
okay,
you'll
so
notice that
this is an
a
action item.
very long resolution.
Right, it is, and
Not
we,
a normal resolution. And all of this is crafted, obviously, we did employ outside legal counsel specifically for the design build project. And they helped us craft this to make sure that it hits all of the points that that will meet all of the statutory requirements, basically.
Yeah, I found it to be very thorough and very informative.
Yes.
And so very concise. This is an action item. I'll entertain a motion since we have no questions.
I'll move staff's recommendation.
We have.
Second.
Resolution.
Okay. Director Wood and second Director Costa. I heard him before you did, Director Rice. Board Clerk, would you
Yes.
call the roll, please?
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Sheets,
Aye.
Director Wood,
Aye.
Director Rice,
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa, Director Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, next thing we're gonna go on to, and we, Council, if you have any comment regarding this, it's this adopted resolutions, capital improvement plan amendments. And we had the CIP, capital improvement resolution, Fund 212A resolution, and Fund 212D resolution. And I think we might do them separately? Or, yeah, okay.
They were enacted separately, so.
That's correct, yeah.
Separately.
I wanted to
yeah.
make sure we do it in that manner.
Yes.
It's all
Okay.
one item, but yeah.
All right, well, the first one, the CIP resolution, do I need a motion in a second, please?
Did you want me to present on that first?
Oh, okay, yeah, all right, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yes, because
separate
you were
item.
up again.
Yeah.
You were up again, I kind of got ahead of myself here. All right,
So, a couple weeks ago, we just approved this plan.
Yes, we
You might
did.
be
That's why-
thinking, why are we coming back already with an amendment to this
Yeah.
plan? Well, because it is a plan. That's the purpose. It is a plan. When we put it together, it is our best effort at what we believe is the needs of the district at the time that we put it together. Luckily, our CIP policy does allow for deviations from this plan with board approval as our needs change. So you did approve a project for a squad vehicle acquisition actually last budget year. And due to lead time and needing to finalize specifications, we rolled that project forward to the current year. And tonight, we're asking the board to amend that project, or amend the CIP to approve additional funding in that project to allow the acquisition of one additional squad vehicle. So the total would go from 3 to 4. So we've been in contact with the vendor that we are trying to acquire these vehicles from. And as you know, we've been talking about this for quite a while. It's a very dynamic situation right now with acquiring any type of vehicles or apparatus. And so in those discussions with the vendor, we're looking right now at about a 530-day lead time on those vehicles. And just in consideration of our current needs, which, as you know, we have one squad already in service. We'll be putting another one in service next month. And just some anticipated service delivery changes that we believe will come about as part of the standard to cover process and service delivery plan process. We feel that it is in the best interest of the district at this time to add one more vehicle to get it ordered and on the books to allow us the most flexibility in consideration of the long lead time. In addition, the auto workers are going to be striking on strike here, so we don't know exactly what impact that may have on an already heavily impacted industry. And so we feel like we're going to be really behind the curve if we don't try to pull the trigger on this now. So we're asking the board's approval to go ahead and amend that project, which luckily our policy does allow. And I'll take any questions you have on that
Any
one.
questions or comments? Yes, we do.
Second.
All right. Motion by Director Rice and second by Director Jones. Please call the roll. Board Clerk.
Director Sailors? Director Weber? Director Sheets?
Aye.
Director Wood?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
Director Jones?
Aye.
Director Costa?
Aye.
President Clark?
Aye.
Thank you. That
Okay.
CIP.
The next item on this action item is the Fund 212A resolution. Basic.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, we have a motion, okay. Because we already dealt with this, but we just had to, you know. Okay, Director Jones. Okay, 12A.
Second.
Director Costa has a second. Call the roll, please.
Yes. Director Sailors?
Aye.
Director Weber?
Aye.
Director Sheets?
Aye.
Director Wood?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
Director Jones?
Aye.
Director Costa?
Aye.
President Clark?
Aye.
Reso adopted.
Okay, next we have Fund 212D resolution. Need a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Director Wood? Motion?
Have a second?
Second.
Do we have a second? Director
Second.
Costa? Okay, call the roll, please, Board
Direct,
Clerk.
yes. Director Sailors?
Aye.
Director Weber? Director Sheets?
Aye.
Director Wood?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
Director Jones? Director Costa?
Aye.
President Clark?
Aye. Okay, the next two action items, which will be industrial disability retirement for engineer Stephen Caldwell and industrial disability retirement for Captain Colin Swarthout, will be done in closed session, and we'll report out on that. So next we go to reports. We need the President's report. I don't have any, I don't have a report. Fire Chief. Chief Mitchell.
Thank you, President Clark. Good evening, directors. I'm filling in for Chief House tonight as he's attending a public safety cloud workshop today down at Microsoft's office in Mountain View, along with Chief Wagaman and some other members of the California Metro Fire Chiefs and Western Fire Chiefs Association. So thank you for having me this evening. It's a different seat here tonight than I normally sit in, but I'll tell you the pride with which I watch our folks come up and do these presentations, and to also see them out here and to know what they do out in the field is incredible. I'm really happy to see all the folks here tonight, and I just wanted to say that before I got going, so thank you. We'll go a little bit off script here. I want to bring Engine 65 up to the podium. Captain Poulos, if you can bring your crew up to the podium. They're the folks that took some time out of their day this evening to bring us the cancer awareness engine tonight. So I'm going to have Captain Poulos come up and introduce his crew and then just tell us a little bit about the program. And I know he can look over to Captain Wilborn if he gets in too much of a jam about what we're going to do for the rest of the month. But Captain Poulos.
All right, good evening, everyone. Well, I'm Captain Ryan Poulos. I'm Engine 65A, and got firefighter Dave Smith here and engineer Eric Kumalainen tonight. We brought the cancer awareness engine your way tonight. I worked at Station 109 for many years, and I'm at 65 now, so I've actually been at those houses. I've had the opportunity to staff the cancer awareness engine for quite a few years in a row now, and it's always a privilege. I think most people out there in some way or another have had their lives touched by cancer, whether it's been individually or family or friends. So it's always very well received within the community. You think that a big red fire engine going on the street catches some attention? Well, take something with a half and half bright pink and blue paint job, and we attract a lot of attention everywhere we go. So it's always quite a conversation piece, whether we're at a grocery store, on a call, wherever we might stop. We've always got people asking about it. And a lot of times they just want to know what it's all about, and that's what we'll kind of just let them know that, you know, for 2 months now, it'll be on the road, and it's just to promote getting yourself checked out for breast cancer this month, for prostate cancer in November, and any other kind of cancer that's out there. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Just driving here tonight, we've got a lot of folks honking horns, waving at us, thumbs up. So a lot of folks in the community are aware of exactly why it's out there these days. So it's always it's a fun deal. There's been a lot of public events with it. I know there's a lot on the roster. I know that Captain Wilburn's put a lot of work into this program. Just today, we were actually one of our EMS vendors just for a photo opportunity with their staff. Brought it here tonight for you board members to have your photo opportunity as well. And I think there's some school visits scheduled. I know there's a Kings game scheduled in a week that it's going to be going to. So, yeah, it's quite an opportunity. It's always fun, and we're glad to do it.
Thank you, Captain Poulos. Appreciate that.
Or comments?
Thanks for what you do, and Chief Mitchell, glad to see you got your patches on, and hopefully we'll see more of those on our members throughout the month. So thank you, Captain.
You bet, absolutely.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I know I surprised you to tell you to stay, but I appreciate that. So thank you.
Surprised us.
Okay, and the next one is tied into this, but not in a happy way. It's with profound sadness I inform you of the peaceful passing of retired Captain Robert Bob Bruce on Saturday morning, October 7th, at his residence in Galt. Captain Bruce dedicated 24 years of faithful service to our community and retired from Metro Fire on December 30th of 2017. He leaves behind his beloved wife Denise and their son Hunter. Captain Bruce had a positive impact on literally everyone he came into contact with here at Metro Fire and outside. I know we talked before the meeting about all the contacts he had throughout the state and really larger than that even. So he was truly an exceptional individual, known for his kindness and unwavering commitment to help others, but also for his dry sense of humor and finding ways to make you laugh all the time and messing with you. So during this difficult time, the Bruce family kindly requests privacy. Captain Parker Wilborn has been assigned as the Metro Fire liaison to his family, and then when we get further information about services, we'll make sure and share that. So please keep the Bruce family in your thoughts as we move forward. And I would also ask President Clark for a moment of silence before we recess into closed session for Captain Bruce this evening.
Absolutely.
Thank you. On to some happy news. The promotion ceremony we had back on October 3rd was for 21 of our members. We had 3 professional staff, 2 battalion chiefs, 12 captains, and 4 engineers who were promoted from between March and October this year. That's always a fun time to see everybody and their families. The ceremony went great, and it was a great opportunity to celebrate, again, along with the friends and families, lots of pictures, and it's a milestone for each one of those members to be honored that evening. Thanks to all the members who had a hand in putting that together, especially the Community Relations Division for their big lift and coordinated the entire event, and the family, friends, and current and retired members who attended. We had a great turnout, so thank you. I'm also excited to announce that the district has re-engaged communications with our community through a quarterly e-newsletter. You may have seen that recently, the Metro Fire Scene. The first newsletter was distributed on October 9th. The Metro Fire Scene newsletter aims to create meaningful and long-lasting relationships with our residents, our local businesses, and community-based organizations through consistent communication and relevant safety information on upcoming events, Metro Fire highlights, and much more. And if you haven't already seen it, make sure you check it out, because it'll be a regular thing that we do. And great job over there for getting that out. Some new hires, so please join me in welcoming Saeed Sadat. He was hired for the position of Administrative Specialist in the Support Services Branch effective September 18th. I'd like to ask Saeed to come on up to the podium up there and do a little introduction and let us know a little something about yourself.
Good evening, directors. My name is Saeed Sadat, the new admin specialist with Support Services Division.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm coming from Yolo County Health and Human Services Agency. I worked with them as an office support specialist. And before that, I worked with Employment Development Department during the pandemic in 2020 and 2021. And I'm happy to have the great opportunity of working with Metro Fire. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Being here, Saeed, appreciate it.
Right. Welcome to the team.
Welcome, yeah. And then we also had Tanya Zamora, who was reinstated for the position of paramedic in the Metro Medic program effective October 4th of 2023. We'll welcome her back. So promotions, congratulations to Kendra Clark, who was promoted to Administrative Specialist in CRRD effective September 19th. I'd like to ask Kendra and Peppermint and anyone else you'd like to bring up with you to say hello and also give us a little bit of history on yourself.
Hello, my name is Kendra and this is Peppermint. I started working for the district as a temp January of 2021. And then I was hired as an office tech in March, and I just recently got promoted to administrative specialist, and I honestly can see myself spending my whole career at Metro Fire. I love it here. This is Peppermint. She's the 10th puppy I have raised for service. The company or the organization is called Canine Companions, and they raise service dogs for people with disabilities other than blindness. So veterans, children, mostly wheelchairs and hearing impaired individuals. So she's my 10th puppy, and she will leave me in May to go and learn to be a super service dog. And yeah, Metro Fire and Canine Companions are my two loves. So
All right.
thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kendra.
Welcome.
Thanks, Kendra. And you always got to find out if it's okay to engage with Peppermint, see if she's working or not. So thanks for bringing Peppermint tonight. Retirements, the district would like to congratulate engineer Christopher Nelson on his retirement on October 10th of 2023 after 29 years of service. So congratulations, Chris. And some reassignments. The following members were selected to join our drill master, Dylan Fader, for the 23-2 MMP Academy as drill instructors, and the academy just started on October 9th. Firefighter Kyle DiBiase and paramedic Diana Borsch were both selected to fill those roles. And congratulations to Captain Jeremy Crawford for being selected to fill the training day captain assignment effective October 9th, 2023. And he is filling the position that Captain Jason Cahill was filling. He's been reassigned back from the training division to the suppression effective September 4th. And the district would like to thank Captain Cahill for his dedication and commitment while working in the training division. On to recruitments, the district has a number of them up going on right now. There's letter of interest from the rank of captain paramedic for the position of EMS day captain with a final filing date of October 11th by 4 p.m., which that was yesterday, so that's closed now. Letters of interest from non-probationary firefighter engineer or captains for the position of drill instructor for the 23-1 Fire Academy, which is scheduled to run, 24-1 Fire Academy, which is scheduled to run from January 16 through May 17th of next year. And letters of interest are due for that by 4 p.m. on October 23rd. And then applications are open for both internally and externally, the position of fire mechanic with a final filing date of Halloween, October 31st by 4 p.m. And the last item I have for you tonight is a follow-up on the lift assist fee. Back on June 8th, Interim Fire Chief Haverty brought to you an item about exploring a lift assist fee when we respond to for-profit care facilities for patient assistance requests or public assistances. I'm happy to report on the July 27th adopted fee schedule, ordinance 2023-02. It's included in this fee structure for the recovery of actual costs and allows us to continue to explore further implementation, so that was a good step to take. And there are a number of items that staff has been considering when we're looking at this fee, and many of which that you all discussed that day, that evening when it was brought forward, such as ensuring we have it's used only for for-profit healthcare facilities, and then it's what the legal definition of those are, and a required training level of healthcare facilities where those calls occur, et cetera. There's a number of items we're looking at just to make sure we do our due diligence for that. I did want to bring back a little bit of data as we're looking at this, notably the data back from 2022. If we went through and scrubbed it on the first run initial look, it said we had 95 calls out of 3,298 that occurred in what looks to be a healthcare facility. So just as an awareness, it's less than 3% of our public assistance calls. Yes, it's 95 calls for service that would be available for this type of a fee structure. And it's also notable that, as was discussed, to make sure that the private citizens of our district aren't being impacted by this. 1,262 or 38% of those calls from last year out of that number were in those 1- and 2-family residences. So that's the vast majority of where we see those calls, and we want to make sure we get that right. So we're continuing to look at it further, and we'll come back to you with a recommendation in the future on how to move forward on that. Just want to give you a brief update there. So, and that's the end of my report, unless there's questions.
Do you have any questions for Chief Mitchell on Chief's House report? Do we have none? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief. Great report. We'll next move on to the operations report. Assistant Chief Green, Chris Green will report.
Thank you, President Clark. Directors, Chief Mitchell, everybody. Chris Green, Operations Branch, Assistant Chief. I'm filling in for Chief Mitchell, who's not in the front row Who's over there? Got two items to present to you tonight. The first is providing an update on Copter One. There's a lot of information behind this, so my goal tonight is just simply to present you the facts of the event from 10 days ago and the process we're using to address the event and moving forward. Our safety division is working on a green sheet, which is in final draft form right now, should be released relatively shortly, which will contain all the finite details and contributing factors. We do not want to get the cart before the horse, so to say, but that will be presented to you and the entire membership. It will be a public document as well. So to back up 10 days ago, on October 3rd, Copter One was performing flight training over Folsom Lake. Upon returning to Station 115, they were over Granite Bay, and they lost the right-hand crew door. The door fell onto the roof of a residence, did cause some minimal damage to the roof. Thankfully, no one was injured. Our flight crew is healthy. Everyone on the ground is healthy. The flight crew was able to get the helicopter back to Station 115. The door was recovered. And that night, we immediately contacted great partners at CAL FIRE through their aviation management unit and asked them for their assistance in fact-finding with us and an investigation and working with us moving forward. We're very grateful for their assistance. They spent the rest of the week out at Station 115 working with our flight crew, our program manager, our chief pilot, and our maintenance professionals, and contacted us 2 days ago on Tuesday with their preliminary findings. At that time, the executive staff, myself and Chief Lozano, met with the CAL FIRE representatives. They presented us what they have found, and we immediately scheduled a meeting that next morning with every member of Air Operations out at Station 115 to share what we've learned thus far, again in the preliminary stage. From the fire chief, the executive team, and all assistant chiefs met with everyone out at Station 115 and really had, I think, a very good, transparent conversation about what happened, what we've learned thus far, and to start to put the puzzle together on how we're going to build a process to move forward. And that's where we're at tonight. The big step that is going to occur next is the green sheet's going to be distributed, which is going to transparently show all of us what happened and really how we're going to move on from there. Specifically, what Captain Bryce Mitchell is working on right now with maintenance is their plan to address the damage to Copter One and any modifications that might need to be made to Copter Two. That plan is the first stage. Anything about a fiscal impact or a schedule is yet to be determined. I'd be purely speculating at this point tonight, but we do anticipate having that plan put together hopefully by the middle of next week, and we'll definitely communicate that to you as well. Couple more important things to point out is our support services branch and facilities division have worked seamlessly with the homeowner on the repairs of their home and developed a good relationship with those folks. So we're very grateful that the pure professionalism, what we do on a daily basis occurs regardless of boundary, jurisdiction, and so forth. And I also want to share that we are in a safety stand down right now. Traditionally, these occur, for 48 to 72 hours. We're continuing to extend that. So we're not in service at the moment. We're not even going to project an idea of when we're going to be back in service. There's a lot of things that need to line up, but we'll keep you apprised of that process as we go forward. Okay. Next, a difficult topic revolves the events in Israel. As of right now, if anyone's been paying attention to the media, there's been a former leader of Hamas has declared tomorrow, Friday the 13th, is a jihad throughout the world. So there's definitely some significant concern within the Sacramento area. We work very closely with the Central California Intelligence Center, the CICC. They send information out whenever they have any sort of terrorism, whether it's domestic, international threats, to let all public safety agencies know. On average, we get one notice every couple weeks. We've probably had close to a dozen notices within the last 48 hours of this evolving topic. So that revolves into what does that mean for us? What does that mean for our folks in the stations? What does that mean for our infrastructure here in Sacramento? There are no credible threats that have been passed on to us at this point. However, all of us from the business of the fire service, we're very aware of what arson looks like amongst religious facilities. So we're also very aware of our responsibilities to our citizens, but we're also very aware of the health and safety of our members. So we're working closely with the Safety Division, with our Battalion Chief Tony Peck, who's working with our Emergency Operations Plan, specifically on civil unrest, to make sure that's available for everyone. And rest assured that the health and safety of our members is the #1 primary concern. And as long as we have that taken care of, we can respond to anything that comes our way in the community. And we do work very closely with local law enforcement at a watch commander level and the shift commander level moving forward. So time will tell, but we're well prepared. That concludes my report tonight, unless you have any questions.
Thank you very much. That's for the transparency on the helicopter issue and also on the alert. I hadn't heard that about the jihad thing. Well, that's unfortunate. Do we have any questions for AC Green? No? No comments? Okay, thank you. All right, we're going into administrative report. Chief Bailey, welcome back.
Thank you.
Been seeing you in a little bit.
Good evening, Board of Directors, Board Chair, Chief Mitchell, colleagues and staff. I'm Ty Bailey. I'm the Deputy Chief of the Administration. I have a report for you this evening. Since we last met, Station 42 was dedicated on September 29th to Captain Mike Guzman and Engineer Kyle Rutherford. Thanks for all that were helped getting that completed for us. And there was a transfer of command ceremony that's going to be held on 10/24 at at Cordova High School. Fire Prevention Week is October 8th through the 14th. The theme this year is Cooking Safety Starts With You. It's a reminder for those in our community that cooking fires are the #1 cause of home fires and home-related burn injuries. The Cancer Awareness Engine that we spoke about earlier, I'd like to thank Pro Style Wraps, the Sacramento Kings, the City of Rancho Cordova, Local 522, and several other organizations that helped put that together for us and get it wrapped. Something also I'd like to point out, we spoke of Captain Bob Bruce's passing. After his first battle of cancer, it was Captain Bob Bruce that came up with the idea to wrap the engine.
Wow.
And so as that's going around to bring awareness throughout our community, it's, put in perspective. Because he's a great captain for us, did a lot of great work in EMS as well as many other divisions, so he will be missed. Events that are the Cancer Engine will be attending in the future. Thursday, October 19th, it'll be at the Kings game. On Saturday, October 21st, it's at the Sac State football game. Wednesday, November 1st, it'll be at the State of the City for Rancho Cordova. And then also to have various photo shoots throughout the area, including Rancho Cordova PD and Fire Dispatch. So thank you, Parker and Community Relations, for putting this all together for us over the next 2 months. And then last, for Community Relations, I'd like to congratulate Allison Mayhew, who passed her probation with Metro Fire, so congratulations. Finance. The Finance Division has quickly pivoted from budgets to audits and is working closely with our third-party auditor and have those completed by the end of the year here, December 31st. Board members should have received a fraud risk survey and are asked to submit responses by the end of October. So if you haven't, please let us know, and I'll have our CFO work with you on making sure you get that information.
Thank you for that reminder.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see, HR, Human Resources. We have office technician recruitment that closes October 13th, and there will be testing on October 30th. Operation Data Analyst closes on 10/13. Fire Mechanic closes on 10/31. Paramedic interviews are scheduled for 10/5, 10/12, and 10/19, so those are being held every Thursday. And then next week, October 17th through the 19th, we have 87 EMTs that will be interviewed.
Wow. Amazing. That's great.
And then we have 2 M&P paramedics that have deferred to the 24-1 Academy. So we have a total of, well, for the Firefighter Paramedic Academy 24-1, we'll have a total of 20 going through background currently. So we have 12 external paramedics, and we have 8 internal paramedics from the M&P program that'll be going to the Fire Academy of next year. And that is the end of my report. Any questions? We're happy to answer those.
Yeah. Do we have any questions or comments? Director Weber?
Chief, are we still on target for November 1st with the TPA?
I would say that I'll have to get back to you on the exact date. I think right now they're working to get it done. I can't guarantee it'll be done by November 1st, yeah.
You let us know, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I don't want to commit to something and it gets pushed back to a few weeks, but I know they are working diligently to get that accomplished by November 1st.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
There were no further questions or comments. All right, great report. And finally, well, we also have a support services report, but I don't think Chief Wagaman is not here today, so we don't have a report. Thank you. All right, we have firefighters, Local 522, Battalion Chief Matt Cole, whom we haven't seen in a while. We're glad he's back. He's been busy doing a lot of business out there.
I missed you too, President Clark. Yeah, I think you did. Good evening, and yeah, I'm back.
Yes, sir, in person.
In person. I'd like to start by thanking Chief Mitchell for his words about Bob. I spoke with Denise, and the family is obviously mourning Bob's loss, but at peace, and they appreciate all of the calls and support that they felt from Metro Fire and the region and the state. Bob was and is a very special person that will be with us forever, as is memorialized on the side of that engine. So thank you to Parker for making that happen timely. I'm sure there was more than just Parker making that happen, but I appreciate all the work that went into that. So thank you, brother. I also appreciate the comments about from Chief Green about our preparation for some of the challenges associated with the conflict going on over in Israel right now. We have a member who has dual citizenship. Sam Farhi has U.S. and Israeli citizenship, and he was called to go take action side by side with his brothers and sisters over in Israel. So we are supporting Sam and his family, and please keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers as we see how that conflict evolves. Hopefully we'll be over sooner than later. And then I also appreciate the comment about Fire Prevention Week and cooking safety. Station 105 just cooked their first meal back at their kitchen, and we'll make sure that they understand that this is Fire Prevention Week and it is all about cooking safety. Yeah, perfect timing. Slid that right in there. My report is fluid. I feed off what other people say clearly here. So I'd like to report that today we had a general membership meeting. We do those quarterly, and all of 522 comes together. Today was a big general membership meeting because we took nominations for e-board positions moving into the next calendar year. We took nominations for president, secretary, treasurer, membership services, and vice president positions. So we are going to have President Jameson continuing to serve as president, Dustin Rodriguez continuing to serve as sec treasurer, Jeremy Crawford is going to continue to serve as membership services, and Sean Scollard is going to be our vice president representing the Metro unit moving forward. So I have been humbled and honored to serve this membership for the last 2 years, and I am very confident in Sean's ability to lead the membership and work with management as we move Metro Fire forward into the next calendar year. So that was exciting, and my wife is pumped that Sean's taking over. I feel like just a weight lifted off my shoulders. I am happy to report that we're continuing to look at the deployment changes as reported by Aaron, the tweaking of the plan and the ordering of resources to be able to look at our standards of coverage and evolve our models and look at two-tiered systems for ALS and BLS coverage for ambulances, but continue to provide ALS care off of those squads. Not only are we moving in a very positive direction, but regionally we're setting the roadmap as that it was reported today at Jungle Membership that Consumness is also ordering 2 squads and starting to duplicate the things that we've been pioneers on. So I challenge all of us to continue that motion moving forward, and I appreciate the labor management collaboration as we work on all of that. Also, we had a very exciting call today with folks from the California Joint Apprenticeship Committee So we have great opportunities in front of us to build a partnership with CJAC for paramedic training. Earlier it was stated, I think by Captain Mitchell, about promotions. And one of those battalion chiefs promoted was Chief Joe Aldrich, who he came through our initial paramedic internship. He's the first battalion chief to be promoted that came here at a level of service which was not the level that we set as a standard, ALS care. He trained to the level of ALS care, provided service to the community, and now has moved into the battalion chief rank. So we want to get back to that model of growing our own and training people up to the level that we want to provide service to our community. And so with CJAC, I think there's a really exciting partnership there for post-employment apprenticeship in the labor movement. That's very important to get blue-collar workers into these jobs and get them trained up to the levels in which we want to provide service to our community while continuing our partnership with American River College. So we have a number of really exciting opportunities in front of us, and it is very unique to us. We are just 2 organizations in the state that have this opportunity. So I could not be more excited to continue to explore this with the leadership team. Let's see. I, as was pointed out, have been gone a little bit. I've been very busy, and I'm very proud of the work that we've been doing at the local level. Very recently, we've had meetings with some of our folks on the County Board of Supervisors talking about our service and things that they can do to help support community-based paramedicine and some of our deployment, looking for revenue streams. We've met with our LEMSA medical director a number of times, and Dr. Khan is very aggressive on sitting with Metro and City and some of our other major stakeholders to look at the 2-tiered system, and Local 522 is right there in the middle of that conversation, and I'm very proud of that. At the state level, I personally have been fortunate to work with the legislative team on a number of Assembly and Senate bills. I'm very proud to tell you that our governor has signed all but one currently, and we're hoping for that final signature tomorrow. But things like cancer research, funding $7 million on a bill for cancer research, and we know, as we've talked about and we stood in front of that engine, like that's touching everybody. So that money will help us hopefully find ways to reduce some of the exposure and challenges that our members face. The retirement parity for 37 Act counties so that there's reciprocity should somebody fall injured or ill serving their communities. And we have former organizations, predecessor agencies that are 37 Act counties, so that does affect Metro members today. So that those bills are fantastic. The PTSI presumption being extended. All these things are very important, and our partnership with CPF and our involvement here, because, as Kyle pointed out, our proximity in this capital, we have a responsibility to our brothers and sisters up and down the state to be a local champion and a partner at the state level, and we've been grinding on that. And I'm very happy about where we are, and we have one more big lift on AB 40 that we hope that signature comes tomorrow. And I'm literally texting Doug as I'm sitting back there. So I wanted to be able to like break exciting news. It wouldn't be my story to tell, but I really wanted to tell it. But hopefully that will be tomorrow. And at the federal level, the fact that we have a full release position here and that I can go do all kinds of crazy stuff all over the place afforded me to go learn about PPG-EMT, letters that I did not understand. And now my rudimentary awareness on that is allowing me to help at the IFF level, our 10th district vice president, in protecting fire jobs within our state. Fire service sometimes is attacked by other people with other interests, and the knowledge base that we have at Local 522 is helping to protect some of those positions and increase services other places. So it's been an exciting time. We've been super busy. And so I'm back in time to remind you about the Fallen Firefighter Memorial coming up this weekend. So please, if you find time on Saturday between 3 and 5, come down to our state firefighter memorial, and we will be recognizing 3 family sacrifices: the Mrzinski family, the Vitti family, and almost the Rutherford family. And the wall is full. We all know that we'll be rebuilding that memorial. There was also a bill that was signed to help fund that with the license plate extension and some of the stuff we did last time. It's a shame that all those walls are filling. We're going to need to add more, and those are going to fill too. So let's come out and recognize the sacrifice of our brothers and sisters up and down the state. And I hope to see you all there. So unless you have any questions, that concludes my report.
Yeah. As usual. We have first Director Rice. Go ahead.
Matt, I just wanted to say thank you. I've been in your shoes, And I want to thank Amber for sharing you with us. And you've done a tremendous job, and I believe that you have also been a really tremendous and good partner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and I just wanted to build off that too. Thank you for all your hard work, and the standard you set and the partnerships that we see. Only together can we move this organization forward. And as Director Rice said, as far as being in your shoes, I'm just curious if Sean is going to get a pair of nice sneakers like yours, or are you taking those with you?
Shoes will stay in my closet, but these have become the official union uniform.
Okay, so he will be wearing something like
I would
that.
expect
Okay.
something
All right.
similar.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Nobody can match your.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Okay, and that great report, we'll move on to committee and delegate reports. Executive Committee, our next meeting is to be determined. Communications Center JPA, Assistant Chief Green.
Thank you, President Clark, again. Directors, Chief Mitchell, everybody. Chris Green, a board member for the Communications Center JPA. We met on October 10th, took action on 2 items. The first was approving the board up company RFP proposal revision on the process. And the second was approval of the resolution to fix the healthcare contributions that continue to rise across all agencies. That concluded our meeting. We will meet next in these board chambers on October 24th. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Green? Thank you, sir. All right, Finance and Audit Committee.
Thank you, Mr.
Director
Chair.
Wood.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The Finance and Audit Committee has not met since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be October 22nd at 5 o'clock here. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Policy Committee, Director Costa.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Policy Committee met today. We had one presentation item. We reviewed the meal and refreshment policy, and we referred that policy to this board. So it should be at our next agenda. And our next meeting is November 9th. End of report.
Okay, we're going to go to board questions and comments, and right after that, we'll have that moment of silence for Captain Bruce. Director Sailors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to say congratulations to our air crews for their wonderful rescue that they did out in, I believe it was Placer County? Yes. I do think that our air program is a very good program for this and for our region. I can't wait for our 3rd helicopter to get in the air. And I also want to thank Engine 65 for bringing the cancer awareness engine over tonight for all of us to see. And everyone else, just stay safe out there, especially with everything going on out there in society. That's it tonight. Thank you.
Director Costa.
Thank you, Mr. President. No comments.
Okay. Director Jones.
Thank you. Echoing previous comments from my fellow directors, as well as I want to say congratulations to all of us for moving forward. I feel like we've taken a humongous, larger step in terms of establishing our internal and external connection communication from the local to the federal level, as was presented tonight by Mr. McDonald. This is, I've been waiting a long time for this to happen. A lot of us have been chirping at the sides saying, hey, what's happening here, what's happening there? And I am just delighted to see a cohesive plan for us to really step into a leadership role. Again, and thank you to, all the promotions, retirements, et cetera. Well done, all of us, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you.
Director Rice.
Contained, President Clark.
Okay. Thank you. Director Weber.
Sir, I have no comments.
Okay, yeah, well, it's moving along. Director Wood.
I have nothing that I can say any better than what's been said. Thank you.
All right. One thing I want to hope and pray that our crews are safe out there in view of this threat that's happening. And I also want to thank Kevin Coleman at Station 58 for a little tour of that dozer program. I got to ride the dozer a little bit and not run into any fences or anything like that. So it was a little intimidating, I must admit. And I thank Chief House for also setting that up. And thank you to everyone for your reports. It was great, fantastic. Kyle McDonald, Miss Castleberry, Jeff Fry. You guys are fantastic, so appreciate you. With that, before we recess to closed session, let's have a moment of silence, a moment of silence for Robert Bruce. All right, we'll recess to the closed session, and hopefully you're all
Recording stopped.
So we're going back into open session. Council, would you report, please?
Yes, thank you, President Clark. The board met in closed session on a number of items. First is the workers' compensation claim of Joseph Reyes. No action was taken on that matter. The board also met on item number 2, Troy Thompson, a workers' compensation case. The board unanimously voted to approve a potential, or to approve a settlement and give authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate that settlement. Next on item number 2, there were 2 IDR, industrial disability retirement matters, one involving Stephen Caldwell. No action was taken. That will be considered by the board in open session. And also the IDR for Colin Swarthout. Again, no action was taken on that matter. That will also be considered in open session. Just want to point out that it's action item number 4 for open session, which says Captain Troy Swarthout. That's a typo. It should be Colin Swarthout when you take that matter up. And then finally, the board met under Government Code Section 54957A regarding cybersecurity issues. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to, okay.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion by Director Weber and a second by Director Wood. Call the roll, please.
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Sheets,
Aye.
Director Wood,
Aye.
Director Rice,
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
President Clark.
Aye. Second would be on Colin Swarthout.
Mr. President, I'd like, oh, sorry, I've jumped in.
Oh, no,
Sorry,
go
sir.
ahead, no, go ahead.
I wanted to make a motion to accept the disability retirement for Captain Colin Swarthout.
Okay, Director Rice, motion, Director Wood, second. Call the roll, please.
Yes, Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Sheets,
Aye.
Director Wood,
Aye.
Director Rice,
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
President Clark.
All right.
Thank you, motion passes.
Okay, our next board meeting will be, a regular board meeting will be October 26th at 6 p.m. And the next one is November 9th, but we're worried about the 26th. Having no further business, I adjourn this meeting.